We are back, baby. It's been a minute. I took a little bit of a siesta, a little bit of a TO. You know, since selling Manistee Beverage Company, honestly thought I'd be a lot more chill. I really thought that going into summer after that sale, I wouldn't be as busy as I am. And man, I feel like I'm busier now than I was when I was running the store. Hey, things come up, you know. I own another business with some friends. A lot of you know that, know me racing. We just capped Run the Pier last month. And man, what a busy time that was. You know, we scaled that race immensely, adding all the additional races on top of the 5K, which was huge. You know, the participant level skyrocketed. It was more than double the last 2 years combined. I mean, we had just an amazing event, and I'm really looking forward to next year. But fuck me. I mean, it was like, take a breather, dog. You know, Betsy and I really tried to kind of focus our efforts on like doing this summer hard with the kids, with ourselves, you know, getting out, enjoying Manistee, you know, hitting all the parks, you know, doing all the things, getting on our bikes. You know, I was running like crazy up to almost 7 days a week preparing for the North Country Trail Run, which, by the way, I have some content that I put out on my Instagram stories. I think I'm going to do a reel. I was trying to collect content throughout the day for that event. There's a lot of you that were saying, hey, like, you know, document when you're running, which is easy for me because I don't run that fast. And, you know, so I did the start of the race, and I started. This episode is brought to you by Brandon Ball, broker owner of Dwelling Realty, Keller Williams, Northern Michigan. Are you looking to sell your home? Then look no further. When you list your home with Brandon Ball, you'll get a trusted advisor who will guide you through the entire selling process. With extensive knowledge of the local market, he'll help price your home competitively to attract the right buyers. And with proven marketed strategies, your home will be seen by the most qualified of buyers. With 17 years in the business, you'll have someone experienced who's on your side. Contact Brandon today to get started selling your home. 231-690-4981. That's 231-690-4981. Or Brandon at dwellingrealty.com. You know, giving updates every few miles or so. I got up to like the 15th mile for an update, which, by the way, by the time I got to the 15th mile out there at North Country, I was fucking dying. Carried too much water. I carried too much food. You know, for those of you that you know, that are runners but maybe haven't got up to like the marathon level, running a road marathon versus a trail marathon, not to diminish the effort, okay, of the actual of running a marathon, because you're in the top 1%. You finish a marathon, you are in the top 1%, okay? Most people don't attempt that kind of shit. So, but my first marathon was North Country, and it was a trail run. If you're not familiar with it, it's a trail run up at the Big M on the North Country Trail, and it's a motherfucker. You know, the adage is if you, whatever your pace is on the road, add 2 to 3 minutes for the trail, and that's 100%. In my case, it was almost 4 minutes more. The hills were, anyways, it was a bitch. And by the time I got to mile 15, I was like, fuck that. I pitched my camel pack. I got rid of all my food. I took my shirt off. I ran the next 11 miles like a skinned bear running through the woods. Skinned, that's not right. Like a shaved bear running through the woods. My skin glistening as I popped out for the finish, but I was fucking tired. But anyways, it was shortly after that when I clocked my 15th mile. I must have been, my phone was hitting the I have an iPhone, so it was, I think it got into emergency mode and locked down on me. So I had to spend the next half a day trying to get back into my locked phone, so I wasn't able to show the finish, but I do have a picture of me coming across the finish line. I did it. I finished the son of a bitch. It took me a little bit longer than my plan was, but the ultimate goal was to finish. The goal was to raise some money for the Lakeshore Children's Advocacy Center. I had a lofty goal. Last year for the half marathon, I raised a little over $3,000. I think it was somewhere close to $3,800 last year. So I said this year, if I get the $5,000, I'll do the 50K in 25. We were able to raise about $1,400 this year, which is great. Like I've always said, little bits add up to big bits. This organization really, they draw all of their funding. They get some state funding, I believe. They might even get a little bit of federal funding. I'm not quite sure on that, so don't quote me on that. But they get a lot of their funding from fundraisers and events. And so, if I can do a little to help them, that's the goal every year. So, anyways, I guess I got out of doing the 50K because Jesus Christ, that marathon up there was a son of a bitch. Anyhow, so I just signed up for the half for next year. But if, and it looks like it is, but if the Ironman comes back to Frankfurt for 25, your boy's signing up for that. So you can follow that journey. As soon as I sign up for it, I'm really hoping it comes to Frankfurt. I'll do an Ironman in Michigan in 25, but I really would love it to go back to Frankfurt. I think that's just a beautiful course up there. The community seems to embrace it, which is a good thing. I think it was voted like one of the best Ironman courses, if not, I think in the country for the half Ironman, which is a 70.2 mile course. So, yeah, I'm not exactly buoyant in the water these days, so I'm going to have to really dial in my swimming, because that's a 1.2 mile swim, I think, and a 56 mile bike ride, and then a half marathon to finish. But I could do the bike in the run for sure. I'm not worried about that. It's a swim that's could get your boy. I could be done before I start, but we're gonna get some pool time in this fall, going into winter and spring, and then we'll hit the open water come summer, and hopefully I'll have my swimming dialed in. I'm gonna train with my boy Joe, who's also going to do it, and he's very optimistic that's gonna come back to Frankfurt. So yeah, we're excited about that. I'm hoping to be in the best shape of my life by summer next year, and started putting the work in this week after North Country. I couldn't walk I could walk, but it was so fucking painful for like 3 days. My quads were just torched. All those uphills and downhills, especially the downhills. The downhills will murder you. But man, just when you think you're an absolute fucking unit, there are people out there that are destroying. We have shout out to Run Club members like Jason Connell and Denny Capling. Jake Wagner, Ethan. There's so many, but they went out and absolutely crushed it. Everybody's bringing home pelts, you know what I mean? Like first place in age group, first place overall. There was a guy out there, and I could be wrong on the age, but he's definitely, he's older than me, in his 60s, who ran the 50-mile race on Saturday, turned around and did the 50K, which is like 31 or 32 miles on Sunday. So that guy did 80 miles in a weekend. I know there's people out there doing, these ultra races, these 100-mile plus races, but, this fucking guy didn't even look tired. Life goals, right? Life goals. Just when you think you've reached peak performance, there's somebody out there who's absolutely fucking destroying you, leaving you in the dust. So, anyways, I've got lofty goals. I'm really excited about a few things. Number one, I'm going to do a little shout out here. Not sponsored, not yet, but Blokes. I did a blood panel through Blokes online, and this is where some of the people are going to be like, oh, he's doing one of them bro-y things. Yeah, I am. I just turned 46, okay? And I'm really in this space and time in my life where my health is really becoming, and it should have been earlier in my life, but right now it's becoming the one of the most important things aside from my family is my health, right? We've got God, we've got family, we've got health, and I mean, health has to be right up there. You can't do shit unless you're healthy, right? And I want to be healthy and strong as long as I can. One of the things I don't ever want to hear from like my kids is Dad used to, right? I want to be able to do cool shit, rad shit, deep into my aged years. I mean, past 60. And I want to be running marathons when I'm in my 70s. So in order to do that, I have to keep my body in check. I'm going to dial back on the alcohol intake. I'm sure there's going to be a point in the not so distant future where I just quit drinking altogether. And I think it's important. I mean, I think everybody really knows that. I mean, you're just putting poison in your body. And, as much as I enjoy a nice, ice cold, really strong IPA, poured fresh out of a keg into a nice, clean pint glass, just that little half-inch of foam at the top. You could smell it before it even comes. My mouth is watering. I like a good gin and soda. I love a good Napa cab. Might be a little more difficult than I thought. But when you spend a couple of decades in the beer and wine industry, you develop a little bit of a taste. You know what I mean? Anyways, I think that's one of the things I'm definitely going to nip or at least cut down like 90%. It's hard sometimes, You just like want a nice ice cold beer after a long day. I get it. You're out mowing the lawn, you're sweating. What tastes better? Water? Or a Miller Lite? I know what I'm choosing. Anyways, back to blokes. I did their full blood panel. All the biomarkers. A little bit of an investment, but you know what? I always say this. If you're going to spend $700 to $1,000 on new tires for your vehicle, right? You're going to spend $600 for brakes, all the way around your vehicle. You're going to spend, I don't even know, what the fuck is it? $60, $70 for like a really good oil change these days and tire rotation every few thousand miles. If you're going to put all that money into your vehicle, what are you investing in your health? I mean, that's something to think about. I mean, are you just like randomly supplementing with multivitamins? Which, by the way, I was taking handfuls of multivitamins for the longest time. Just like, well, this has got to be doing something good for me, right? Never really was dialed in. I'd go to my primary care and get some blood work. It was just standard blood work. They're checking your cholesterol. They're checking your protein levels. They're making sure that, your sugar is good. Checking that glycemic index. And that's pretty much it. You get a little in the bit of the red on the cholesterol. You're a little high in the sugar. They might say, take this, take a statin. I've always been the kind of person that doesn't really want to have to take certain things, pharmaceutical medications, to correct something that I can correct with diet and exercise. I've talked about this before on the podcast that I had like a rheumatoid arthritis scare. I'll call it that right now, a rheumatoid arthritis scare. Some years ago, I was having just the most intense pain in my joints, my hands and in my feet. And, it was difficult to walk sometimes. It was hard to make a fist. I was getting scared, like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Went primary care, then had some blood work done, and it was shown that I had rheumatoid arthritis. And I'm like, fuck. So I was sent to a specialist, had the test again, confirmed, yes, you have rheumatoid arthritis. But guess what? We can help. We're going to put you on this medication, and you just have to have your liver and kidneys checked every 3 months to make sure that they're working properly. And I'm like, fuck no. So, yeah, because that's scary. Like, why take a pill that's going to fuck up your organs, right? So, and at that time, we were eating like the traditional American diet, which basically means you're going to be out of shape, you're going to be a pig, and whatever. And I was probably consuming too much beer. I was doing a little over-the-road beer and wine sales, and I wasn't the healthiest. I'll put it to you that way. So Betsy and I decided, hey, why don't we just do an elimination diet? And we eliminated everything. We went vegan, basically. We just vegetables, and some fruit. And then, guess what? It went away. I had my blood work done 6 months after that. Just 6 months after that. No rheumatoid arthritis found in my system. All right, so what is it? Right? So over the last few years, we've gradually been adding some things back in. Some dairy. We're eating eggs again. A lot of eggs. I will eat some fish and some chicken on occasion. But I tell you what, I know what it is, and it sucks. It's red meat. As soon as I put red meat in my system, I flare up. So I found it. I wish it was the opposite. I wish it was fucking broccoli. I wish leafy greens was the food that triggered my rheumatoid arthritis. But it's not. It's T-bone. Can't eat T-bone anymore. But hey, I feel great. So where the fuck am I going with this? Okay, blokes. Back to blokes. So anyways, about 6 months before I decided to get this blood work done, I cut out all of my multivitamins that I was taking, because I was taking a bunch of multis with Athletic Greens, which is a vitamin. It's a green vitamin drink that kind of has like 100% plus of all your daily needs for vitamins. Before I cut out those what I was taking was about 4,000 IUs of vitamin D. On top of that, with zinc, I was taking some magnesium supplements. I was taking, what else? The fucking other one. There was one other one I was taking. I think like ashwagandha for sure. I was taking that. Anyways, so I was stacking all that on top of the Athletic Greens. I cut out all the pills, just stuck with the Athletic Greens, and then I had that blood panel done. And wow, eye-opening. I had over an hour-long consultation that went line by line through all of my markers. And, turns out your boy's dialed. Everything was looking really good. The one thing that was a concern was vitamin D, which is shocking because I spend so much time outside with my shirt off. And Athletic Greens does have like 100% of your daily value of vitamin D. So, but hey, that's one of the things where we're deficient. Most Americans are deficient in vitamin D. So we're adding back in the 4,000 IUs, kind of see where that goes, and then I'll have another panel done to kind of verify that. Also, as hard charging and revved up as your boy's engine is, turns out my testosterone was a little low. So we're not taking any TRT. We're not going to do that right now. We're going to try to find a little bit more homeopathic path to increasing. But if it doesn't show improvement in the next 6 to 12 months, then we might take a look at that. But for right now, we're just going to try to focus on doing it naturally, and might take like some clomiphene, I think is what it's called, to kind of help boost the natural testosterone growth, kind of signal like, hey, listen, you might want to spike it a little bit. But we'll take it a few months at a time and see where it comes in. But I would encourage anybody, if you've got, it's out of pocket, insurance doesn't pay for it. So it was $600 for the round that I went through, but it was worth it. I mean, we're on a health savings plan, so whenever I go to my primary care, I'm paying out of pocket as it is. I'm paying for that blood work. So, again, if you're going to put a shitload of money into your vehicles, why not put some money into your health? That's the moral of the story there. I mean, we put a new roof on the house. We had to put a fucking well in. We're all these things that we're doing for the things that surround us in our life. I think it's important that you invest in your health. So that's what I'm doing. Also, I don't really put this out a ton on social media because I think people just fucking roll their eyes. But I cold plunge. And for the last few years, I've been cold plunging in a ice chest. I got like an ice freezer, and I keep it outside. Fill it up with water, obviously, and ice. And probably by like mid-October, I don't really have to put ice in it anymore. It stays at a pretty cool temperature. And then obviously getting in the winter, it's down to like 30-some degrees, and it's got to chip ice away to get in it. But what a fucking remarkable thing to do. I mean, I don't really know what it does to you physically, but mentally, I mean, I get into that thing and my vibe for the whole day rises. I mean, I get like this shot of dopamine, and like the good vibes start coming out of me. So I've been doing that for quite a few years. Well, not quite a few, but about 3 years now, 3.5 years. And shout out to the pod company, because I got an ice pod coming, which I was really hoping it would be here by now. It was supposed to be here around the 29th or 30th, but holiday weekends, so it's sitting in Grand Rapids. But it's supposed to be here next week. It's supposed to be here on September 3rd. And, yeah, I'm going to have some discount codes for you guys. So they're going to be well represented here on the podcast. But this thing is like it's a big fucking tub. It's got all the stuff, and I'm really excited for it. So once I get it set up, I'll show you. I might even do a little plunges, and I'll do that bullshit where you can see me like freezing in the fucking water. But anyways, I'm excited for it, because the little ice chest that I'm in is like really just like a little ice cooler, and I really got to get down in there and to get myself up to the neck. And this thing I'm going to be able to like completely submerge in. So I'm pumped. I'm stoked for it. I don't even know where this podcast is going, but yeah, the pod company, I'll throw a link in the show notes. If you click the link, there's some discounts there. If you're interested, at least just go to the site and check it out. There's a ton of these like ice bath companies out there that are doing some really awesome things. But the pod company, for the money, I'm getting everything that I want at a really good value. And I think if it's something that you're into, if you're currently doing it at home, like I am in an ice chest, or you got like a bucket outside that you're just trying to jump into, all good things. Continue to do that. But if you got the scratch, I'd take a look at the pod company, because like I said, their shit looks great. I'm looking forward to receiving it and setting it up and getting in that thing. And if it's everything that I think it is, I'm going to be happy with it, and I hope that if you look into it, you're happy with it too. Just sitting here scrolling on Facebook, by the way, trying to see if there's anything I should be talking about other than my fucking desire to jump in ice and increase my testosterone. But, so yeah. Did we talk about the break? Yeah, I took a little bit of a break. So I've got some podcasts lined up for September. Really excited to have my boy Brandon Ball. Shout out to Brandon Ball. He's coming back on the podcast. We're going to talk about some of the changes in the real estate market. We're going to be talking about commissions. I think that there was a little bit of shakeup with how the commission structure is, and he's going to educate me and probably some of you on that. We've got some open seats in the county commission. So I've got a couple of individuals coming on that are vying for some seats in the on the county side. So I'm excited about that. So, I mean, I get it. Some of that stuff, for a lot of you that are watching that are outside of Manistee County, might find that stuff a little boring, but good stuff. It's good stuff. I think sometimes we get a little skewed and think that politics are more nationwide, when really, if you dial it way down, the most important politics are local politics. I mean, that's school board, that's city council, that's county commission. I mean, the Chamber of Commerce, your local Chamber of Commerce, your development authorities, if you have a DDA in your community, tourism, for example. I mean, all of these entities, it's really important who gets put in what seat. And to some people, I think if you really dial it down, local politics doesn't have to be a one side or the other. All right. I've seen it in our community where you have a Democrat who runs Republican because there's nothing available on the Democratic side, right? And vice versa. What I mean by that is like, okay, there's a Republican running for X seat and you're a Republican, but you want that seat. Well, hey, you run Democrat. It's fucking weird. But I mean, I think really if we take parties and put them aside, if you get involved with your local community, if we can find a way to get national politics out of local government, would be fucking wonderful for starters. People are going to hate this, but if there's this imaginary taking sides bullshit, Republicans and Democrats, your boy is supplanted right in the middle. Because I think there's good shit on both sides, right along with all the dumb shit that's on both sides. And we need more. Anyways, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go. Betsy's always like, don't talk about politics on your fucking show. But it's hard for me not to sometimes. What else? I got to work this muscle. I got to keep talking for a little bit because I've taken such a long break. It's like when you stop running, it's hard to get back into it. Taking even a few weeks off from talking almost 4 or 5 times a week sometimes, the muscle, and you need to work the muscle. But we'll get there. Anyways, I'm rambling, so I'll keep it short. I'll keep it sweet. I love you guys. I've got podcasts in the tank. I'm really excited for them. We're going to really start focusing and dialing in on spotlighting some of the rad shit that's happening in our community. And I also have a bunch of podcasts lined up with some people that aren't a part of our community, but have some really cool things to say. So if you're subscribed to the channel, I appreciate it. It means a ton. Again, everywhere that this podcast is, with the exception of Patreon, is completely free. I do post to Patreon first, because the podcast needs to make an income. I can't do this all the time. I can't upgrade. I've said it before, but I really want to upgrade the podcast, and it takes money. So I appreciate all of my subscribers on Patreon. You get to see this stuff before anybody else does. And then it goes everywhere. Then it goes on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes and all the shit. But I appreciate everybody who subscribes, for starters. So if you're subscribing to the YouTube channel, thank you so much. If you know anybody that you think would find some interest, insight, or glean some knowledge from this podcast, hey, have them subscribe. Throw some comments down there. I don't read them, but it helps the algorithm. So drop them. That'd be great. If you're following me on Spotify or iTunes or any of the other platforms that you watch or listen to podcasts, subscribing helps a ton. So I really appreciate it. We're going to be looking for supporters, financial supporters of the podcast, as we kind of roll into quarter 4 and gear up for the 2025 season, so to speak. So keep an eye out. I'm going to try to do as much as I can to highlight and spotlight all the rad shit that's going on in our community, and also bring other guests on that might not have a stake in our community, but can drop a little extra data in the hard drive. So I love each and every one of you. Hugs and kisses on all your pink parts.